Hey y'all, back again in the book of Luke, and tonight we're in chapter 9, and I'd like for us to discuss verse 62. And please bear with me. I do not know how to do the green screen or the screenshots, on the screen here. Please just rock with me as best as you can. We're gonna work with this. I'm gonna give you what I got. So I don't know if y'all know what a plow is, but it's a fork-like or a rake-like. Y'all know what a rake is? We're gonna go with fork. A fork-like flat piece of machinery. I don't know. Tool. It's a tool rather, because a machine has to pull it. Okay, so it's these fork-like tool that is being pulled by a tractor, and it creates furrows in the ground. It creates lines in the ground so that the farmer can go behind and spread the seeds within the bounds of wherever the furrows were created, right? Okay, so that's present day. That's what plowing looks like. Now, Jesus is the one who said this. So when Jesus said this, there was no such thing as John Deere tractors and Husqvarna and Black & Decker and all that other good stuff, right? So for a plowman to create a furrow in the ground, he had to use like an L-shaped tool. It would actually be going this way, right? Okay, so just to show you, let's just say this is the hand to the plow. That's the handle. And there was a part that was sticking down. This would be like a shovel. And this would be something that is sort of like I guess like a guide marker. So imagine plowing the ground. Here goes the little part that the shovel that goes into the ground. You got to plow forward. He's going to put his hand on the handle of the plow and push forward to create the little furrow in the ground so that he could plant his seed. Okay, so now let's check this out. This is not the most stable device, because if you just look away a little bit, you're going to start going that way. You look away a little bit, you're going to start going that way. And on top of that, if you get tired, you can make the furrow too deep by digging too deep this way or too deep this way. Okay, so we kind of got the general idea that you have to go in the only way to make a straight line and for you to go in the direction that you're going is obviously to be fixated on something stuck in the ground. Maybe that's a tree in the distance. Maybe that's a stake all the way down on the other side of the field that the farmer put down, so that they had a reference point to follow so that they could make a straight line. Now, this is what Jesus is saying. Anyone who puts a hand to the plow, meaning they are ready to go to work, they are ready to follow Jesus. I say I want to follow you. Anyone who puts a hand to the plow and then looks back. Imagine this. You're plowing along, but you look back, it's easy for you to veer off into another direction and not have a straight line. Jesus is saying, if you want to follow him, you put your hand on the plow and you say, I'm ready to follow Jesus. And you start looking at Jesus to plow forward. You're going to plow that nice straight line. But the second you take your eyes off Jesus and start looking around at the things that you distract you, that new relationship, that new house, that promotion, that money, this vacation, this book, this car, all these things. Now, side note, those things are not bad, but they can be a distraction. We're going to pull that in another video. Jesus is saying, if you want to plow the field, but you start looking around at other stuff, you're not ready for the kingdom. If you say you want to follow Jesus, but your mind is all the way over here on all these other things except him, you're not ready for the kingdom. He wants you to have a straight line as much as possible. Now, he understands there is sin, and sin is going to distract you by putting the kinds of temptations that the enemy knows will help you take your eyes off Jesus. He will put those things in front of you. Now, those things are not inherently bad, but if they cause you to sin, then yes, they are bad. So Jesus is saying, if you just be fixated on me, watch me, look at me, follow me, all this other stuff. They are distractions. He can still bless you with these things. But the second you start going off and trying to get these things on your own outside of God's will because you're too impatient, or you think you're ready for it, or you weren't faithful with what it was that you had before. So, oh, well, it's time for me to upgrade. I got to get a new one. And you messed that one up too. There's so many things that can go into this message, but all Jesus is saying is stay focused on me. Because when you stay focused on me, you won't drown. That's a reference of Peter walking on water. We all are pretty familiar with that. Jesus is out there in the middle of the ocean and it's a big storm and the waves are all around everywhere. And then Peter says, Lord, if it's really you, then tell me to come to you. And then Jesus says, all right, well, come to me. Peter starts walking on water. He's walking on water because he's focused on Jesus. The second he takes his eyes off of Jesus, he falls in the water. But you know what? This is the good news of Jesus. Even though you fall, even though you are in the water, even when you are surrounded, he will not let you drown.